rather than concerning ourselves with ourselves, right? To challenge this is to challenge the very assumption that we are obligated to concern ourselves with the plight of others rather than concerning ourselves with ourselves. If it's the case that you make this assumption, right? If it is the case that you make this assumption that moral values are the precondition for the social, then what you're saying is the relationship of these values is me thinking outward, which is exactly what you need to have in order to have the social, which is exactly the case now. In 2011, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. I guess the question is that I'll ask, Nietzsche doesn't say this explicitly, but why couldn't it be the case, right? We have society here, and we have society here, just so that you really understand the point. And we have a society composed here in a traditional sense, where everybody's thinking about everybody else, right? The welfare of the other is elevated above my own concerns. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Do not do unto others what you would not want them to do to you. Blah, 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 same stuff. All of that serves as a precondition for society. Why couldn't we have the same sort of geographical dispersion of various demographic identifiers, individuals and races and cultures and genders and creeds and beliefs or lack thereof. And these individuals, they operate for all practical purposes like a society operates. And they're cordial like everybody else, and there's stoplights, and people go grocery shopping and put gas in their car and take their kids to school and laugh and cry and die, just like they do now. But there's a huge cognitive transformation in the majority, in the mass of the people. It would be amazing, because there wouldn't be a herd. There would be a multitude, but everybody would be coexisting with the other, but focusing on personal excellence. For me, just so that I'm very clear, this is what I want to see. You know, I very rarely ever put out, and you can ask me, but I'll never answer it. But I'll just say it now. The whole point of me doing this lecture series, to be honest with you, is so that you, and especially those of you who have a lot of power, because I would assume that, you know, lots of different people watch my videos. This is what we need to be doing, decision makers. We need to transform our society. This is how we do it, right? It takes 30, 40 hours worth of lectures so that we can get to this point, and I feel comfortable enough that you have the requisite understanding of Nietzsche in order to say something as audacious as that. Because it's not going to look any different. There's still going to be shoe stores, and there's still going to be TV ads and commercials, and people are still going to be wealthy, and people are still going to be poor, and people are still going to be middle class, and people are still going to, you know, live the life that they live. Nothing is going to look like it's any different than it does now. However, there'd be an enormous cognitive shift in the population. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. There would be an enormous cognitive shift in the population, because now I recognize, you know what, I spent a lot of the time. I've done my bid, right? I spent a lot of time thinking about John and Jane. I'm going to let John and Jane fend for themselves. I got to think about Jason J. Campbell. I got to get on my grind. I'm going to try and not at the extent of some other person, and not this sort of misunderstood, misconstrued, you know, no holds barred, me against the world, not all that corny crap. Me becoming the best person I can be for my sake and the sake of my immediate family. Why not have a society that's more like that? Oh my God, it would be beautiful. There wouldn't be any edifice. There would be no edifice. There would be no edifice, right? It would be, hey Bob, you know, don't you think your point's a little off? Well, you know, you could be right. Do you think I could be doing this better? Yeah, actually, you know, in that lecture you said X, Y, Z, and I think that's wrong. Damn, good looking, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for making me stronger. Now I'm stronger. I won't make that mistake again. Let's get it moving. Whew, a whole society of people doing that. Oh. The creme de la creme. The cream, the cream, the cream, the cream, the cream. So, I think that's just, you know, that's amazing. 1B, the social is strategically placed in opposition to the individual. Rather than recognizing the individual as the condition for the social. And I said explain the importance there, but I think I've already explained it enough, right? The individual becomes the condition for the social. But not just the individual in and of him or herself, but the individual perpetual directedness outward to the welfare and the well-being of the other is how our society was formed, right? Is how all societies, I can't say all societies, I can't say all. No, I think even the African societies that I know and the Eastern societies that I know basically all fit the same template. Anthropologists who might know more, please chime in if you watch my videos, students or professors. But there's this concern, I mean, almost innately with just the other. Maybe because it's child rearing or it takes a village to raise a child and all this other sort of these adages. It's not to say that, and this is what people get completely just don't understand Nietzsche, and there's a lot of people that just misarticulate what he's saying and just botch his logic. He's not saying that it's just like this self-serving gratification, this self-serving egoism. That's not what he's saying. You do have care in the world. You do have concern in the world. You have people. I look at myself as a good person. I look at myself as a very charitable, genuinely charitable person. You might not get $5 out of me, but I do look at myself as a charitable dude, right? This is an act of charity, of genuine charity. It's on you to take the responsibility to take all the time to watch my videos, but if you take the time, you know, I think I can teach you something, and I can learn as well. So we have this exchange. The individual becomes in a traditional sense, becomes directed towards the other, right? Because all the various tenets says that I need to focus on the other. And the idea is very simple. It's like, stop. Take 2 seconds. Relax. Enough with John and Jane. Think about you. Where are you? What do you want to do? What are you good at? Do you think you can attain it? Would you be willing to take the effort to try and attain it? If so, let's go. Set a date. Start. Practice. Train. Take criticism. Get better. Perfect your art. Become a master. Teach others. That's it. Repeat, recycle, do, and then die. And then life was great. Then I'm ready. You know, so when the Grim Reaper comes, hey, I'm surprised I got as much stuff out as I got. You know, I haven't even started working. So, I mean, for me, that's just, you know, I can't imagine what society would be like. You would have the best artists. You would have the best educators. You would have the best business people. You would have, because they're doing it because that's who they are. They're actually, you know, it sounds hokey, right? I know it sounds hokey. I know it sounds corny. But the beauty of it is that it's a vision that's based on our biological embeddedness. It's based on sheer desire, motivation. It doesn't require any spooky anything. It's just you saying, I want to be the best that I can be. That's all. So as hokey as it sounds, as corny as it sounds, it only sounds corny if you don't believe that you're going to go and give everything that you have to become who it is that you want to be. I'm doing it right now. Then, here is Nietzsche's explicit intent, right? And I'm going to read these next 2 pieces and then we'll end on that. My purpose, 272, my purpose, to demonstrate the absolute homogeneity of all events and the application of moral distinctions as conditioned by perspective. Moral conditions become conditioned by perspective. They are, and they do not inhere in moral phenomena. To demonstrate how everything praised to be moral is identical in essence with everything immoral, and was made possible, as in every development of morality, with immoral means and of immoral ends. How, on the other hand, everything desired is immoral, is economically considered higher and more essential, and how a development toward a greater fullness of life necessarily also demands an advance of immorality. Truth, the extent to which we permit ourselves to understand this fact. And we've talked about the polemic, right? We've talked about immorality, and I'm not going to go into that now because I've spent hours talking about the proper articulation, the proper conception of the immoral, right? that is the truth, right? I need to concern myself with my own existence.